So can I say it is such a privilege to be here, and it is your time. Whether it is bringing together, and I want to thank the sister from Dearborn so much, and the strength of her voice and the power of her voice, which I think was so meaningful to all of us, and our transgender sister, and all of the people who spoke in this room. It is so powerful. It was only won by 10 votes, and if you don't vote, it'll be utter disaster. And people have said two things. First of all, oh my God, that's too much pressure on me. I can't be the 10th deciding vote. Particularly women said that. I don't know enough to be the 10th deciding vote. People also, we always message like it's a crisis, right? Like today is the last day on Earth. That's my favorite. We do a lot of work on climate change. They always say, today's the last day on Earth. Well, think about it. If it's honest to God the last day on Earth, are you going to the march? Hell no. You know, you're having sex with your partner, you're trying heroin, you're taking your kids to the zoo, but you're not going to the march. If it's honest to God the last day on Earth. This messaging to crisis doesn't work. What does work for the registered who do not vote is to say, you are a voter, and all of the voters in your neighborhood are voting, and you need to join them and make sure that you are part of that. And it makes them feel a part of something whole. It is affirming rather than negative. You're not getting blamed for losing the election, and it doesn't put too much pressure on people. So, and what's your plan for voting? You know, when are you going to do it? Because a lot of people just don't plan, and then something comes up, and particularly with irregular schedules and stuff, people don't vote. Did you know that you can vote absentee? Did you know? So yeah, that group of people who are registered and don't vote or have irregular vote history are a prime target, because they really can be talked into it.
So it's kind of smart targeted.
Smart targeting, yeah. Great point.
Okay, question at microphone 4.
Hi, I'm Kelly Persons, League of Women Voters of Georgia. A few years ago, we had an elections or a ethics scandal in the middle of the election. Didn't really change anything because everyone expects a certain degree of corruption.
Yeah.
It just depends on whether it helps you or helps someone else, right?
Yeah.
One of the things when we're talking again with the young people that we're trying to reach, sometimes I'm one of them, sometimes I'm not, is that they see it as the lesser of the two evils, right? I have Voldemort and Darth Vader. So how do we approach that conversation of having to choose, even though we would like more choices, how do we get over and reinstore that faith in the American government, that faith in democracy? I know that was sort of one of the themes from the speaker this morning. So what is that overarching?
It's a really super great question that you're asking. So in the states, and Georgia's not one of them, but Georgia is one of them. In the states that allows initiatives, it often helps to focus on the initiatives because voters then feel like this is a pure vote, yes or no, on an issue. Secondly, it helps to vote, and it may not be the top of the ticket. They may really feel like the two candidates for president or the two candidates for governor are the lesser of two evils. But pointing to someone exciting down the ballot, like go to vote because there's this young person, millennials love to vote for younger candidates, that there is a person of color running in the first time in this area, that it's a historic woman, not necessarily just Hillary Clinton, there may be other historic women, and go have your say. That helps. Sometimes it helps to say, here's the voting record, and yeah, neither one of them may be great, but there is a difference. One is for minimum wage, one isn't. One is for equal pay, one isn't. And so those voter guides really help. But it's a problem. And one of the things we need to do, honestly, is we need to get more women and people of color running for office, and we need more leaders running for office. So I'm asking all of you, run for office, and if you're a Democrat, hire me as your pollster. So you know I mean it. If you're a Republican, I'll introduce you to some great women Republican pollsters who are good friends. But we need more new faces to run too. But this is a big issue, and those are some of the things that cut against it, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Has the train arrived? Is Keisha here? Okay, this will have to be the last question then. Microphone 5.
Norman Turrell, President of the League of Women Voters of Oregon. And I wanted, Celinda, you made a presentation to the National Board a few years ago about public perceptions about the League.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you could share some of those findings with the group today.
Yeah. So you are better than milk, first off the bat. People love you. People love the league. And I'm so glad you asked that question. And to the degree that they have any negatives about the league, is that you're not more visible. The irony is, and there's a little bit, you know, sometimes every once in a while you guys get attacked for being too partisan or you've gone over to the Democrats. Real people did not think that, actually. And most real people thought they hadn't even heard that. But they thought, well, we haven't heard anything about them lately. And they became almost campaign advisors to you. Why don't you get out there a little bit more? Like, you're not trying hard enough already. So they love the visibility. They love the voter guides. That's where we found the research that people didn't know what nonpartisan meant. But they loved that you did not endorse any candidate or issue. Or I mean candidate or party, and that you stood for issues. They loved that you were for women and the history of women, and they didn't realize, they didn't know that the League of Women Voters had started in suffrage, believe it or not. America's not too good at history either. And so they thought, wow, okay, well that makes sense, that's why they're talking about women's issues, because they started with suffrage. And it also meant that all of the stuff you do on, even when they disagreed with you, like we did a focus group in Missouri, and there were some people in that focus group who disagreed with the League on ID. But when we said, you know, the League has been working for suffrage and expanded suffrage ever since they worked for the suffrage of women, they said, oh, okay, well now I get why they took that position. I don't agree with them on it, but I get why they took it. So that roots of that suffrage orientation really legitimizes everything that you do. And they also thought that they love the League of Women debates, which must be ever frustrating to you. They thought it was great if you sponsored debates, even though I have to admit both parties have dissed you horribly on that. And the last thing is they thought the League was absolutely constitutionally incapable of lying to them. Which I thought is pretty rare in politics. It might be a little obscure, some of the material might be a little hard to read, but they thought there's no lie in there, it's just if I can make it through it all. So they were for more bullets and more highlighting, but they thought, wow, those guys are really good. They also thought that you should get on social media more. And they thought, and of course that's frustrating too, but we got one of the things that I'm really glad about is I see a lot of younger faces here, and I know the League has really worked hard on that, and we need to get you on social media more. So those are some of the findings, and thank you for your great question.
Well, and